I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. When is Christmas time? Are we far away from Christmas?
That's 6 months from
Yeah,
now.
we're a little ways.
Well, what do I know
right.
at my age? Anyhow, folks, this is the Q&A show, hosted by your host, who's going to be 102 years old very shortly, and losing his mind, TG. And if you don't know who TG is, you got the wrong show on. And I'll guess seriously, folks, I'm really happy to have him here. I'm not going to have him to give us a name. I'll tell you the name. He's probably one of the most recorded drummers of all time who really knows what he's doing. What's your name? Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Lee.
Jimmy.
With an I-E. They always get it wrong.
What did he do? Anyhow, Jim Keltner, folks, he's, as I wrote my timeline, he has recorded with everybody. I'm going to ask you off the question. Was there any person that you liked recording maybe more than others?
Oh, so you're softening that.
I'm softening, yeah, more than others.
I just told them, the worst question you can ask me is what my favorite anything.
No, I'm softening because you want to answer that question.
What was the question again?
I forgot.
I forgot.
Shall I ask you another one? I said, who did you really like recording with more times, whatever?
Oh. See,
because you recorded with so many people.
But I'd have to say one of my favorite people to be in the studio with, because I was with him so many times in the studio, was Ry Cooder. The great Ry Cooder. He was just a tremendously talented man. Had a great singing voice and a really great, unusual style of guitar playing.
I'm going to ask one more question in the same area.
Yeah.
And then, did you have a favorite producer?
Did I ever? Oh, a favorite producer? Well, no. See, it's the same thing. If I say, like I just said, Ry Cooder, and that eliminates like so many of my favorite guys.
Of all the people, how many
producer,
times? Yeah, same way.
My favorite producer. I mean, I have so many favorite producers.
I know you.
One of my
your favorite.
Well, Richard Perry was one of my favorites. He was, God bless him. He had tremendous ears. We just were speaking about him a minute ago. But there's so many. I'll tell you, when you talk about record producers, there were guys who were not necessarily known as producers, or they weren't tagged as a producer. They were musicians who had amazing sensibilities, and they would produce with the producer, but they wouldn't get producer credit, which was fine with them because it wasn't ever about that. But so when you say producer, there's a little bit of producer in all of us.
In all of us, yeah, I was going to say that, right?
But you do need a real producer that has
put everything
ears
together
and sensibilities to go along together with that, so that he can gather the good information from everybody involved. And generally, a good producer will be the guy that has the team together that he has chosen carefully.
All right, now, Rod, you got any questions?
Well, I got the first one is from Michael Jones.
Yeah?
He's a regular in the chat, and he says, "Hi, Jim. What was Richard Perry like? He was one of my favorite producers as well."
Oh, wow. Well, Richard, he was Richard was tall guy, and he was known like for his. Now this sounds crazy. I don't know how else to say it really, but he had a big mouth, like not like a mouthy guy, like a big mouth son of a gun. He had a large mouth with big teeth, and so when he had a low voice, and when he would speak and smile or laugh, it was big. It was like he had your attention all the time, Richard. For not only for that reason, obviously, but
that helps. Really, it helps.
Huh?
It helps when you have it. Yeah,
it does help. And I mean, he had all the qualities of a great producer, Richard. And I played on some great records with him. A lot of us did.
What else you got, Rod?
Nothing right now.
Okay. You got a question, Rod?
Oh, well, if I might, I was very curious about your roots, Jim. Born in Tulsa,
Yeah.
and you came out to Pasadena at the age of 13?
13.
Yeah. But initially, you got into drums because you heard your father
Don't
playing
look at it
drums.
because you're looking in the air.
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
My dad. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, look there.
You heard your dad in a marching band.
Yeah, my dad was a Shriner. So he played in the Tulsa Akdar Shrine Drum Corps, and they wore funny costumes, and they'd come marching down the street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was Main and Fifth and Main. Actually, I found out I was wrong about Fifth and Main. I always loved what Fifth and Main.
By the way, do you ever know a
sounded
name in Tulsa called Sonny Gray?
like. Sonny Gray?
Yeah, piano player.
It sounds really
Tulsa had a
familiar.
club.
Sonny Gray.
I probably got started after you left from
Yeah.
1960s, the Rubaiyat room.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that would have been way beyond my in Tulsa at the age of 13 when we left, Tulsa was to me it was home. It just was home.
Was it?
And I loved it. And now when I look back, first of all, I said this in an interview just recently, and I hadn't said this before ever, that I didn't realize that where I was born in Hillcrest Hospital in Tulsa, and that's where my dad was on staff as a painter.
What was he on staff as a what?
He did like painting and
painting, yeah.
Yeah, he had his brothers and my uncles. They later on formed a company called Keltner Brothers Paint, and but when he was on his own, he worked at the hospital, and that's where I was born. That's where my mom, his life was saved a couple of different times. My little sister died.
How many in your family, by the way?
There and. What's that?
Yeah, how many in your family, your immediate family, Jim?
The immediate family at that time was three of us, me and my two sisters. And,
Did you say one passed?
Little Jacqueline Marie, she passed in like
how old was she?
19. She was 6 and I was 8.
Oh, at that age she passed?
Yeah, and it killed me. It really killed. It killed something inside me.
Well, you two had to be very close at that age,
She was my little sister, and she was beautiful. But my other little sister, Judy, was just a little tyke then, and she and I, bonded even closer later over the years after that. So my little sister Judy didn't know her big sister Jackie, like I did. So, but anyway, that was just one of the few traumas that
now I want to
had
ask you a question.
As a kid.
You started out knowing all the jazz musicians like Albert Stinson and Mike Romero. Were you sort of wanted to become a jazz drummer, beginning?
Well, yeah, that was my.
Bebop. Who did you listen to? Did you like?
When we got to Pasadena, we eventually ended up in Altadena. I did with my. I got married very quickly with my beautiful Cynthia, and then we had our family very early on, and they were raised in Altadena, and Altadena is very famous now for a sad thing, but the big fires that wiped it out. But Altadena was a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood, integrated beautifully, and soulful and everything, and that's where Albert Stinson was from. He lived there with his mom in a little house at the end of the street. Bobby Hutcherson, the great Bobby Hutcherson.
Yeah, he lived there too.
Lived just a couple of blocks from Albert, and then I lived a little further, a few blocks from Bobby, and so it was Albert was a genius, and we didn't know that at the time.
He died so young,
Albert,
did he?
And I love the stories about you, you know, and Albert.
Yeah, that was pretty well.
Got him a gig and did all the.
Well, he worked with me, but I tell you, $150 a week was a lot of money those days because your room rent was $19 a week, your breakfast was 25 cents, dinner was $1.25. So after like 5 weeks, you could buy a Cadillac. So anyhow, I paid. I learned a long time ago. Pay them a decent salary, let them play, you'll have a happy band. So I hired Mike Romero and wound him $150, and Bill Henderson, who you knew.
Bill Henderson,
Yeah.
fantastic piano player.
Albert asked, how much you have to have? He said, 120. I said, I don't pay 120. He said, how about 90? I said, no, I'm going to give you 150. And he says, I said, just have a dark suit. I don't have any suits. So I had to give one of mine.
He gave him a suit.
Yeah, I gave him because I was little, he was little. But it's wild. So what drummers, jazz drummers, did you like at that time?
Oh my God! I mean, you know, the because of Albert,
Yeah.
we listened to all his records, and his records all were like, you know, Miles with Philly Joe, and then, you know, later stuff with Jimmy Cobb, who was a great version of Philly Joe, but there was nobody like Philly Joe.
No, he was something else.
And then, you know, and then later I discovered Elvin on my own, which is another total story for drummers maybe. But you know, Philly Joe, of course, and then we'd go to the Shelley's Manhole, and I fell in love with Shelley Mann, his playing.
All the good players.
And he always had great musicians playing with him, and his club. He loved the great jazz guys, so he would always have
We played
great
with the dream
jazz
band.
artists.
You know, when I
where
was,
you saw Elvin?
you know, I moved.
Where you saw Elvin?
That's the
Rod-
first place I saw
Rod-
Elvin. No, it wasn't the first place,
Okay.
but I saw him there regularly.
When I moved from New York to California, I got asked who were my favorite drummers. And back when I lived in New York, I had Art Blakey work for me, who I loved. Art Blakey and Philly Joe, who I loved.
Yeah.
And Max Roach, who I really loved for a different reason, not for playing behind me. And when I moved to California, the first drummer was this young kid, Gary Fromer, then Frank Butler,
Oh,
worked
Frank
for me,
Butler.
and Stan Levy. They were my favorite drummers.
Stan,
little bands, you know.
Wow.
Did you know Gary Fromer?
I didn't know Gary I know I met him, but I didn't know
He's
him
on a few
very
of my
well. I know he
records.
was a great drummer.
He was
Oh,
about as
yeah.
old as you.
He had that
young.
time. He gave you that. You know, for me, a drummer, the reason I said Max Roach wasn't my favorite, because he too much left hand for me. I liked Stan Levy because Stan would go, which made it so easy for me to go anywhere I wanted to go.
But they all idolized Max Roach, you know.
Oh, well,
Max
because he was
like
the first one. No,
Yeah,
Kenny Clark was
He
the
was
first.
like Bird.
Kenny Clark was the first one.
Oh, that's right. Kenny Clark.
He was the first one.
That's right.
Then Max Roach,
Right.
and then guys like Art Blakey and Philly
Yeah.
Joe didn't come in later into the picture because
Yeah.
he lived in Philadelphia.
Right.
And Elvin Jones, I heard play with Fat Jones, where they were unknowns. That's where I got that.
That's
You
right.
never heard that girl Terry Pollard. After the show was over, I'm going to play it's just a TV show with Steve Allen, so it had to be short. But you'll hear her play piano, and no girl was playing piano with that kind of feel.
Wow.
And you hear her play vibes, and I swear to God, she was almost as good as Bill Jackson back in those days.
Oh, that's
So I'll play that
fantastic.
for you after a while. Any
Yeah, you
other
know,
questions?
When
Yes.
you're talking about
Oh, go
you're
ahead,
talking about
Jim.
Elvin
Yeah,
and his brothers, they were from Michigan.
yeah, Detroit.
Yeah, near Detroit, and when I first became aware of Elvin, it was on a J.J. Johnson record, and there's a song called I think it was "Old Devil Moon," and he played. I hope I'm right about that track. Anyway, he played completely different than the Elvin that everybody knows now.
Oh yeah, he was a straight head drummer.
He was a straight ahead drummer,
Yeah.
but he had a different kind of power, and he had a different kind of sensibility
That's why he played with Coltrane that way.
Right, and then but it was beautiful, and I fell in love with that playing. And then when he got with Train, they made that beautiful record, My Favorite Things, and it was just beautiful, you know. And then they came to town, to L.A., and I'm expecting to hear what they did on the record, and instead they had, just like great jazz players do, they had gone from there and expanded to this place that was...
I know.
They put you against the wall.
They went to Ragoutyville.
They blew you against the wall. It was incredible. And then it was a different story.
By the way, you know, I was the matchmaker in that marriage.
Really?
Alice Coltrane worked on my band. She was Alice McLeod.
Oh, that's right.
Recorded
God.
5 albums. And she... funny thing, I didn't introduce Alice to John first.
God.
We working opposite John, and John really was having a little trouble because Elvis was in jail and Roy Haynes was playing drums. And in Birdland, the table that was in the back for musicians faced the backs of the musicians, so they couldn't rent it out, so that was the musician's table. I saw a love affair happen. You know, he was really, I hate this, because I love John when he worked with Miles, those records with the Cannonball Adderley, or when he worked with Miles alone, he played very melodic.
Yep.
Here he was starting to screech a little bit, which don't get to me. And so when Alice saw something in his playing, she saw something, and she stayed there every set when we left, because the rest of us went around the corner listening at the Metropolitan, whoever was there. And so now, the weirdest thing, we worked opposite him 3 weeks, and then we had to go do a record day, which I put together that Quincy Jones produced, called Terry Gibbs Plays Jewish Melodies in Jazz Time.
Yeah.
I wanted to call it Jew Jazz. They wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me do it. Anyhow,
No sense of humor.
I had a Jewish band. My brother really, really no books. And so they came in, and Alice, being black, and I'm the Jew, but she wiped me out. Because she was getting to John with his Mid-Eastern runs, and Jewish music is minor keys. I swear to God, she wiped me out. I loved her for that. But I'll tell you, I taught her how to play the vibes, and so she did a vibe duet with me. Now we're going to get our biggest job at the London House in Chicago, then only piano players like Oscar Peterson, Nat Cole, Errol Garner, all the Phineas Stillborn, Bud Pop, only piano players. And my agent calls, I booked you at Chicago at the London House. I said, oh, great. And so Alice comes to me about a week before we open. She says, Terry, listen, John wants me to go with him to Sweden when they get married. I said, no, not now, please.
No.
I taught you how to play vibes, we have an act, and everything. So anyhow, how do you stop a woman from being
That
in love?
is incredible. What a great story.
How do you stop a woman from being in love, right?
Man.
And so
Alice and
How do
John
you stop a
Coltrane.
woman from being...
Yeah.
That's
Any
amazing.
questions?
Yes, by the way, we have son Jerry Gibbs keeping us in the jazz arena a little bit for a while. And Jerry says, I have tons of questions. Number one, do you have any memory or quotes, or no, stories of playing on John Clemmer's Constant Throb with Shelly Manne on drums? Were you doing other things with John Clemmer?
No, that was just a one-time thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, thanks for putting me on the spot like that. Right? Typical.
He does it to me all the time.
No, the thing is, when you get to be my age, it's really, really difficult to remember things that you've forgotten.
That was 1971, 55 years.
Okay.
You're 102. You're
Yeah.
your age.
I'm telling you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the notes on Constant Throb says it was kind of a bitch's brew type of thing. And
Yeah, as I recall, that's right. It was fun.
yeah.
It was fun. John was great. He was a great player.
He had a hit
He was a
record
good
for
guy.
us, did he?
What's that?
Didn't he have a hit record?
I'm not sure what it is.
He might have.
Well, he got famous. I know that's what. I don't know what made him famous.
I don't think we did a hit with him, but
The first
What
one I
else you
heard him
got?
on was with strings and
Any other
lovers.
questions?
Beautiful thing. Well, let's see. Moving on again. Jolene Ahrens.
Jolene.
Jolene, do you know Jolene?
I know Jolene the song.
Oh, okay. That's Dolly Parton. Jolene wants to know, could Jim please speak about working with and being friends with George Harrison?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Well, George Harrison was was very much he came into our lives, not just my life. He became like a brother to me. He truly was that way. I don't know. I know that other friends of his would say maybe the same thing, because that's the way he was, George. He was like a brother.
Was he more friendly than the other Beatles?
Oh, no, I wouldn't.
Were they all nice? Because you worked with all of them.
Yeah, well, yeah. John was the first one I came in contact with. John Lennon, at the time, was separated from Yoko. Not like a true separation, but they kind of said,
I wanted to, but that's when we did that record day. But he was surrounded by 9 Japanese girls at that record day.
That's right. Well, he was with his Chinese girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
She was actually a secretary for Yoko.
Uh-huh.
I hope I've got this right, because I love Yoko very, very much, and also our girl. Oh God.
Hey, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
May Pang.
You can't think that Yoko was talented at all, was she?
Yoko was extremely talented in a way.
That record she made screaming, though.
Well, you have to listen. She wrote some of the prettiest melodies. There's a song called "Listen, the Snow is Falling," which is just one of my favorite all-time songs.
I haven't heard
and
that.
She, I think I played on her version, but my favorite version is the one that Harry Nilsson did. He fell in love with the song, and it's just a beautiful song. But anyway, but Yoko was talented in a way that a lot of people wouldn't understand. You would if you gave it, if
I heard that song, maybe.
Yeah.
All I heard was her screaming.
Well, but musically, music was not just her main thing. Her thing was just art, beautiful art, beautiful, unique ways of presenting things.
Maybe that's what John liked about her.
John fell in love with her madly.
Yeah,
because of that, and who knows all the other things, but they were madly in love, and but they separated for just a short time, and that's when he was being crazy, come to LA, and we did a lot of really dumb things together and stuff. But we made some great music, I think.
Well, good. If you enjoy it, that's what counts.
Yeah.
Anybody else, right?
But
with John, yeah.
But I was
jealous. Somebody.
What's that?
The record you made with John, Jealous.
Yeah, Jealous Guy was the first song I was in the studio with him, with Phil, with Spector. And that was because of Phil, because I was in London doing a project, which I can't even remember exactly, and then I ended up being at Eric's, Clapton's. I was living there for a little while, working with him, and in Surrey. And then one morning, the phone rang, and I couldn't wake up Eric, so I just picked up the phone because it wouldn't stop ringing. And it was Spector, and he wanted to speak to Eric, and I said, I can't wake him up, I don't feel like I should go in and wake him up. And he said, well, will you want to come and play on John's record? And I said, man, when and where? And so I got my friend Colin Allen, great drummer, English drummer, to I used his drums, and he carted them there, me and his drums in his little Mini Cooper. Mm-hmm. And we went to Ascot, John's mansion at the time, and I did Jealous Guy.
Let me tell you, I'm going to interrupt you a bunch of times, because there are so many things I want to ask you right now. So when I think it gets to the core of the story, I want you to tell us more, because reading your bio and all the people you work with, that knocked me out. You know, I'm like Bob Dylan. He's not my cup of tea, but I know how famous all these guys are, and to have worked with them, Jim, that's a kudo. And seriously, that's a award-winning drummer. Have you ever gotten awards as a drummer?
I don't know. Maybe like a couple of times, different sort of little things.
Well, you have any awards hanging in the house?
Records, didn't you?
I got a lot of gold records, yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
And I got those on, some of those on the wall.
About how many gold records do you think you're what guess?
Oh no, I can't. I'm just
that many.
I could say 17, or I could say I could say 37.
By the way, you're not getting paid for this. You know, you're not getting paid for the show.
What's that now?
You're not getting paid for the show.
I'm not getting paid?
How many awards have you got?
Wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Who do I talk to?
You pay him with Volume 7 Dream Man. How's that sound?
What?
You didn't get a copy of
Well,
Volume
yeah, the tuna fish sandwich. All right, what else?
That's right.
Okay, you have another one.
Okay, let's move on. Michael wants to know.
Huh?
Can I eat my sandwich on camera?
Well,
yeah, of course. And
My wife will. Don't you do
no,
that.
I'm asking you to eat a sandwich on camera.
Okay.
Just to show people.
He's telling me I should.
What's your wife's name, Cynthia?
What's that?
What's your wife's name?
Cynthia.
Hey, Cynthia, let me eat a sandwich, please. It's my show. When you get your show, you do as you want. Eat another sandwich. You want a cookie?
You know, I'm not supposed to eat carbs and sugar, but there are the one special kind of times.
These are great.
If I haven't finished my coffee, it's legal for me to have.
These are great, really.
Oh boy. Okay, I'll just have a.
Just have a few.
Yeah. Now let me say though, to get away from music just for a minute. Carbs, sugar, and alcohol. Now this is going to be a very unpopular thing to hear for a lot of my friends. And a lot of people I don't know.
But you're right,
But those are the three things that you must be really careful about for your heart. This is what my doctor told me, and he's a genius doctor. He's a PhD genius.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah.
If you're young, I know that those days were pretty wild. Everybody's recording all day, all night. Did you go through a bad period of your life?
Oh, not really.
By the way, Hal Blaine used to have a band boy, right? And he used to pay him a salary and then put a card in his bill. But he used to go around the clock sometime. Did you go around the clock too?
No, what Hal did and what I ended up doing was two different things. Hal was like a proper studio man, you know, when they talk about studio players. And and Hal had a schedule like that was unbelievable. I tell a story, I don't know if I recently or not, but I walked in to the studio one day. You could just go in those days. They didn't have security or anything. I don't know what I was doing, where I was, whatever, but I walked in and I went over, and I didn't know Studio D from BA, whatever, but I walked in and there his drums were sitting, and nobody was playing. They were gone. And I looked and I thought, oh my God, there's his drums. So I sat down behind them, and I loved his stool, and I got a stool just like his, because it wasn't a drum stool. It was like a proper kind of old school thing at a bar or something. Anyway, so I sat down and I was marveling at the sound of the drums and everything. And I noticed over to the left was a ashtray, stand-up ashtray, and I swear it was like filled like this with butts. So I think, oh my God, he's a smoker, a crazy smoker.
What hell?
And then on the floor, down on the floor, because you can't, you got to go quick. If you're eating something, you got to toss it down when they say, "Oh, we're ready to go." And so there were chocolate bar wrappers everywhere on the floor. So he was a chocoholic, and he was a cigarette smoker, and but he didn't drink and he didn't take dope. Hal Blaine, and so he had a tremendous career, and he would go in the morning and do a commercial, and then go do another ad somewhere else in another studio, and then come back and do somebody's record for 3 hours, and then finish the night with these genius people like Phil Spector and Brian Wilson and all that, and they'd work into the night.
Did you know he worked with me?
And those were typical days for Hal Blaine.
Do you know he worked with the Dream Band for six shows on the Steve Allen show?
Hal Blaine.
We were starting a new show, and Steve Binder, who used to be a jazz producer and engineer, he said he was now the producer on this show and director, and they wanted a younger feel to my band because they were hiring like the Fifth Dimension, who nobody knew, and people like that. So anyhow, they made a list for me of a band, and the job at that time paid for me $5,000, which was like $20,000 or $25,000, and I turned it down.
Oh.
And Steve Allen says, "Why are you turning it down? Not enough money?" I said, "The money is great, but Steve Binder gave me a band with 4 of the best lead trumpet players in town. I need a 4th trumpet player. So he said, well, he'll let you do anything, but he wants to have Hal Blaine on drums. And I knew Hal could do it, so I had Ray Browne on bass, Herb Ellis on guitar, and Mike Melvoin, and the rest of my Dream Band. And he did a great job playing with the band.
Yeah.
And after 6 shows, he came to me and said, "Terry, the honor of playing with the Dream Band and working with Steve Allen is all I wanted. I got to leave because I'm losing money."
Oh, yeah.
All he was getting was scale for the show.
Yeah, that's right.
But he did a good job.
Well, of course, Hal was a superlative musician.
He was a big band drummer before
he was
he got
a great
into rock.
big band drummer, and he was a natural for coming in and doing the records.
What else you got, brother?
Are you done? Okay. Michael wants to know, Jim, did you know Art Garfunkel well?
I knew Art not really well, but I knew him well enough to call him a really good friend. He's a great artist, great singer, and he was really kind to my family, and I loved that about him.
You did something with Simon also, right?
Yeah. Paul. I had the great fortune of playing with Paul on some of his stuff. Not any of his hit records.
They were kind of New York based. Seemed like they used Steve Gadd quite a bit. I sort of look at Steve Gadd. Sort of look at Steve Gadd as a New York version of you. Is that a good comparison? Maybe.
Well, that sounds a little, kind of like I would be probably. No, I wouldn't compare myself to Steve Gadd, because Steve Gadd was. I should say what he is one of the great drummers of all time in
because he can play
in this world,
right?
In this world of rock, pop stuff. But he came from the jazz world too, so that's one of the reasons why I think I always loved his playing, and one of the reasons why he was just such a natural at playing those great feels that he played on those great songs. Steve is one of my all-time favorites. Everybody's favorite, Steve Gadd.
He's a nice guy. You know Freddie Krueger, right?
He's one of the nicest people you'll ever want to meet.
But I'll never forget you. Well, they did that memorial to Freddie Krueger, and you and I and Raymond Rich and a whole bunch of drummers would talk about Freddie. I was putting them down and telling you how I knew him from New York, what a jive artist he was. And then they called me to talk, and you said to me, "Terry, be nice to him." I'll never forget
you
that.
You always love that.
I'll never be nice to him.
Be nice to Freddie. No, Freddie was, oh man, Freddie. You could do a whole show on.
Why does the rock artist think he was a genius or whatever? Neil Peart used to pay him to go to Montreal, paid him all kinds of money to fly him up there. And I listened to Jerry has a video of him talking. I swear to God, I don't know what he said.
Oh.
Freddie, I don't know what he said.
Oh no, Freddie.
This tape has to have to heart.
Freddie was hyper.
Well, I've known him since he'd been 17.
You know him from when he was
New York.
17.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what made him...
17-year-old Freddie.
You know why
Gilbert.
everybody loved Freddie? Because he hung out with Buddy Rich.
Yeah, he was Buddy's favorite.
That's because Buddy was having trouble with his wife, and Buddy needed a flunky, so Freddie was the guy. One time, Buddy and I were in Freddie's house, and he's giving some cockeyed lesson, and Buddy and I listened, so Freddie walked out, and Buddy says to him, "What are you doing there?" He said, "I'm giving a lesson." He said, "That shit's a lesson? Come on," he said, "you're ruining every drummer in town."
Oh, no.
Yeah, Buddy played him.
Buddy,
Never pulled any
Buddy was
punches.
ruthless, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I wish I'd have known him back in those days.
You got to read a chapter. The last part of that book, of my chapter that I wrote on Buddy Rich, is like a classic. It was like a stage show. First, Ray Browne and I were with Buddy the night before he died. And then all of a sudden I go home, and I get a call from Mel Torme saying, "Listen, Buddy died, the funeral is tomorrow. You got to play the funeral." I said, wait a minute. Jews don't play funerals. We cry. We cry. We don't play them. And you're Jewish. He said, "I don't care. You got to play. It's in his will for you, Sweet Centers and Ray Browne, to play his funeral." Wow. So I got Al Viola and Tom Warwick and the bass player. I worked with him. And we went there, and here's the coffin, and here's sitting Bill Torme, Johnny Carson, Frank Sinatra, Artie Shaw, and Jerry Lewis. God. Sitting like this, and Bill Torme spoke and talked about how much they were good friends, and Johnny Carson actually had everybody crying.
Oh.
He talked about how much he loved it because they had to show up.
Yeah.
Then Frank Sinatra said the greatest thing. He said, "You know, when I joined the Tommy Dorsey band, and Buddy Rich was already on a band, Tommy said, 'Now I have two assholes on a band.'" Frank, and then Artie Shaw, who speaks his mind, he don't care what he says. The coffin's there and he's putting him down. He said, "When he played in my band years ago, he played loud bass drum, and about 8 months ago I heard him at Disneyland. He still played loud bass drum. The band's in the coffin." And then Jerry was spoken, and then Robert Blake, the killer.
Yeah.
He had to read a poem that Jack Jones wrote, and then I had to come in with My Buddy, the song My Buddy. Hardest thing I ever had to do in my life.
Wow.
Hardest.
Next. Jerry wants to know, Jim, if you have any memories of playing on Jack Doherty, 1971. Was that an album, Jack Doherty? I'm not.
That was an album.
Yeah.
And my favorite memory of that record is that my little brother Jeff Vaquero and I were playing together.
Was that a big band?
Yeah. And you know, that's it was just it was one of those times when it was fun to play. Always, it was always fun to play. It didn't matter to me who I was playing with or what the music was. In a way, I just always had fun doing it, and I know that's one of the things that was very, very important. And to have a career like that was to be able to have fun at everything. And so that was one of those gigs that was fun, but it was even more so because of Jeff being there. Jeff,
good drummer.
Jeff Procaro, yeah. Jeff was like my little brother. I call him like he was my little brother. We were 12 years apart, and he hung on my every word. He loved the things that I played on, and so much so that later on, I had to tell him, Jeff, you've got to stop listening to my stuff, and you need to listen to Jim Gordon. So
Jim Gordon, good drummer.
Oh, Jimmy was a Hal Blaine. He was like a Hal Blaine disciple kind of.
Any more questions?
Yeah.
But did you want to say anything about Jim Gordon? No?
Well, Jim Gordon was one of my heroes, like Hal. Jimmy was the extension of Hal later.
Did he ever show signs of what he did?
And no, not at all. No, Jimmy had kind of a reputation, I hate to say it, but he had kind of a reputation of being rough with his girlfriends. But that was not unusual at that time. I mean, it didn't seem to be that unusual. So that was the only negative thing, and it was not even a thing that was considered at all in any of our relationships with Jimmy. Everybody just thought Jimmy was a cool guy. He was nice.
Great. Any more questions that somebody wants to ask? I hate to interrupt you, but I want to get them all in.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll be going on for an extra hour, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say that what happened to Jimmy in the end was tragic beyond
really
any
was.
kind of words.
I didn't even know him.
But it is mental illness.
Is that what it was?
Is one of the worst things in our society. It's one of the things that causes people to make judgments, quick judgments on people. You said it a minute ago. We're all the same, even though we're different kind of people, different colors, different religions, everything. But we are still human beings, and we are not to be judged on our race or our ethnicity or whatever. Because we're all within us. We're good and we're bad.
We got to mention what Jim did. I hate to do it.
And the mental illness can cause things to make you look like you were a bad person, but you're just mentally ill.
But he killed his mama.
He killed his mama?
Yeah.
But it was a tragic story leading up to that, and to me, I think that's the main thing that we need to address in our world and the whole world on the planet.
You're very lucky.
That was probably drug influenced.
You're very lucky, and I'm very lucky that we came through the periods of time we came. Mine was heroin was a choice drug, and yours was everything. So you're lucky. Your brain is working good.
I'm very fortunate.
Yes.
Very fortunate.
Yes.
To
you speak very well.
Not
as good as me, but good. What else you got?
Chuck Findlay is here.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey Jim, good to see you with Terry. Looking good. Thinking of our time with George. What a great time it was."
Yes.
Hey Chuck, I want you to do this show. Give me a call.
Yeah, you've got to have Chuck Findlay.
Oh, I've been trying to get a hold of him.
Chuck, where are you at?
What a great Chuck
He's screaming.
I heard him when he was 19 with Buddy Rich's band.
Really?
Yeah, he was 19. He was scary.
Oh no, he was super bad all the time. He what a band that George had together. He had Chuck was in the horn section. Chuck was probably the leader of the horn section.
I had Chuck, John Ordino, Pete Godoli, and Connie Godoli doing my show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carl Fontana, and who else? The trombone.
Charlie Hooper.
Charlie Hooper, Slide Hyde. Platt Johnson and Jerome Richardson, Mid Florida, just got promoted, Willie Green. Frank Capp, Chuck Berghofer, and Alan Broadbent.
That makes me want to hear those. I wish you should do a show where you have
it's
the
on the,
tapes.
you can see it on
I'll send you the
YouTube.
links if you want.
Yeah, good. I really want that. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
and if you have
beautiful.
the names involved, that's even better.
Yeah, they're pretty much outlined in their YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Some of his most popular YouTube videos are those Steve Allen shows. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was telling Cynthia
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, any of those you have, that would be fantastic.
That was one of the greatest.
I'd like to play that for my sons and my
Well,
daughter.
first is having Steve Allen, who's a wit, not a comedian. Whatever came off the top of his head, that's what I learned. I can't tell. I can't act at all. I cannot act. If it don't come out of my mouth, it's not me. So that's what Steve was like. He did the Benny Goodman story, and I was having it on my wife, and I happened to be watching it. I had to call him. I said, Steve, that's the worst acting I ever saw in my life. I couldn't. He was my friend. I couldn't help it. It was terrible. What else you got for him?
Okay, let's see. Where did we leave off here? I've got to talk. John Altman says, "Hi from Liverpool, where I am meeting up with McCartney tomorrow. Wonderful to see and hear you both talking about old friends. Best to Jim, who I saw in the company of your mutual friend Ian Wallace."
Wow, Ian.
John Altman, he's the Johnny Mandel of England. Right? So,
Yeah, wow.
What else you
That's
got?
fantastic. I hope if Ian is still around,
Was that?
I hope
Yeah.
And
gives him my best.
What's his last name?
Ian Wallace.
Great drummer.
Okay. Oh, I skipped over another legendary drummer who made a comment here. And he just says, Les DeMerle is loving this.
Les DeMerle.
That's an old time name.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that name in so long.
Yeah. Every once in a while I hear it.
He was with Harry James.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good, wasn't he? He was really, wow.
Those days, yeah.
He had a little club out here, too. Yeah.
I think he's been teaching.
Yes.
What else you got?
What else I got? What else do I got? Well, Jera Ann Gibbs, who basically is a rocker at heart, she wants to know, do you have any, do you know any of the members of No Doubt? Do you remember that group, No Doubt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew, but again, I'm really bad with names. But yeah, I remember let's see, who was the?
I can't remember.
I can't remember. Yeah, but No Doubt, yeah, I remember liking the band, and partially it was because of the people that played. I can't for the life of me remember the names of who the drummer was, but I know the drummer. I know all of them. That's embarrassing.
Okay.
That's all right. That's all right. Listen.
We'll tell Jerry offline. We'll look it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Henry Brent is here.
Yeah.
He says, "Hi, Jerry. Good to see you. Jim, you're one of my main influences on drums. You demonstrate how to serve the music. Any interaction or stories about Emil Richards?"
Oh.
Jerry has told a few on this show.
I taught him.
You taught Emil?
He came to New York. He used to come down from New Haven or wherever, take lessons from me. And I'll tell you what he did for me, which is great. When I made up my mind to come out and here to do studio work, he was like the #1 studio player.
Yeah.
He came to my house and brought music, Hank Mancini, this guy, the kind of music I would have to play so I'd be prepared. And even though it may have taken a job away from him, probably not, because he was like #1. And he was, he was a jazz player with George Shearing for a while.
That's right.
But his forte was studio work.
Yes.
He once came to
motion picture. Mostly.
Yeah, he once came to one of the motion pictures because the sound they couldn't get. He bought pots and pans.
Right.
And that was the sound that was necessary.
Yeah, creative genius.
Well, you worked with him.
Crazy cat.
Yeah, you worked with him.
What's that?
I said you worked with him.
Emil?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We yes, many times we were in the studio together. But he was mostly
movies.
Movies but he was on tour with George and all of us.
Oh yeah, did he?
Yeah. Yeah, we all. And
he
George,
was a good guy.
And George was such an incredible man. He insisted that I bring my family because he knew I didn't want to go on the road. Even back in those early days, I would go on the road, but I would always be hesitant to leave my family. And George had my whole family on tour.
Really?
And he had Emil's family out there.
Was there that much
George
involved?
Harrison.
Money involved? I suppose it was.
What's that?
I suppose he was making a lot of money.
George didn't think about money. He didn't think about money because he had so much money.
He had so much money,
and
right.
he didn't have to think about it. And
that's great, you know.
And he just wanted to. This is what you did with your bands. He wanted to make sure everybody was happy.
Everybody was happy, right.
And then you got a happy...
Are you kidding? The record, whatever he's doing, will come out better.
Right.
Oh, God. And so I'm so happy you made it, really, yeah.
Oh, man.
I guess I still think of that.
Terry asked me, he said, you think you might want to do my show? And I said, wow, it would be an honor, Terry. And
did I hang up on you?
But then my wife told me, you should be interviewing him. And so we're going to do some things. Yeah. I want some of the cats that I know that should know you and get this experience.
Well, you come over to my house, we'll have lunch.
This man hired Charlie Parker.
Yeah. Should I tell you that story?
These are stories. These are incredible stories.
We've got a few questions here.
I mean, and you have to be this age to be able to say those.
That's right. Yeah.
It's
I was so happy that I got the respect from those guys. You know.
Oh man.
All right.
What else you got, Ron?
Okay. Chuck Finley says, I heard Philly Joe in your playing, Jim. He always played in one. You couldn't go wrong. That's what Chuck Finley says.
Wow.
Right? Is that pretty much hit?
Yeah, he played in one.
I think I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But but that's a great compliment. I never knew. I mean, I knew I would never excel to a place with Philly Joe.
Was he that talented, Billy Joe?
Philly Joe just had beautiful hands and concept. With jazz, it's about the music. And it's how you perceive the music and how you present the music in your playing rather than just playing.
I love that
drums.
song, The Way You Are. I love that song. That's it, right?
There's so many.
Da, 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 da. I love that song. Well, he was a jazz player, wasn't he?
Philly Joe?
So-called
Who are you
Joe?
talking about?
Billy Joel.
Oh, yeah, Billy Joel.
Who said Billy Joel?
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought you said Billy
Oh,
Philly
it's
Joe.
Philly, not Billy Joe. Philly
Philly
Joe.
Joe.
But speaking of Billy Joel,
Yeah.
yes, Billy Joel has a great catalog of music, and a good friend of mine, I won't say his name, I guess, because I shouldn't, but he's a great chef, and he's a great bass player,
Oh, well, that's a
and he's
combination.
getting a band together to play Billy Joel music. And he sent me a little clip of them playing one of the songs, and the song is one of my favorites, and he's just playing the stuff out of it, and so that's Billy Joel you would think was schmaltzy. Some people don't like him and stuff.
I like it,
but
I really do.
He's written some of the greatest pop
Yeah.
songs of all.
I bet he got a million jazz records on it. On some of the songs.
Yeah, he wrote so many pop songs in the 70s that jazzmen recorded New York State of Mind and Just the Way You Are.
I mean, come on.
They're all great melodies,
Yeah, exactly.
And they got good chord changes. But when you get a good melody with good chord changes, you can write your own song on the chord changes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's the whole thing about playing jazz.
Yeah.
Probably when you were a kid, you were into Miles Davis, you heard those records with Philly Joe. I always thought Philly Joe was great on those early Miles records. Yeah.
Do you know Philly Joe traveled with Buddy Rich for a long time? Buddy Rich loved Philly Joe.
Yeah.
So he had him travel and let him play.
I heard that. That's fantastic.
I tell you what I once did. I got to tell you this. There's a record by Count Basie called Queer Street.
Yeah.
With a 2-bar drum solo by Shannon Wilson.
Yeah.
That scared everybody.
Yeah.
Because I never heard it play, but it scared everybody. So Buddy Rich had Jimmy Mundy write him, I was on the band, write him an arrangement of that thing. But he couldn't cap the 2 bars. So he made the 4 bars, and then he capped everything. So we had a rehearsal one time, and Buddy couldn't be there for Stanley Kay, the other drummer, led the band. And when they came to Queer Street, I said, Stanley, let me play that song, please. Because I knew the drum solo. I knew that drum solo.
And you
well.
did the 2 bars?
Yeah, he walked in when I was playing the 2 bars and came over and said, get off my drums.
Get off my drums.
Get off my drums. Because he couldn't cap it. I just played the solo.
That 2 bars is tricky, but it's not that tricky. I mean, I would have thought that Buddy...
Well, it's not that tricky, but you can't cap it. But he did just fit. It just fit. Those 2 bars fit.
Yeah. Oh, it was...
They come in and they go out with it,
Yeah. It's a perfect example of a drummer's musicality.
Yeah.
That's.
But you know something wild, though, I hate to say, but I worked with Woody's band. And well, once it was a different style band than Basie. Woody's tempos were much faster, and Shadow was used to the groove tempos.
Yeah.
Don Lamont did a great job on Woody's band.
Ooh.
What else you got?
Hey, Marshall Zucker is here.
And what has he got
Marshall. And he says, when I was in high school, a freshman, and I made the honor roll in 1969, I got to pick a record for my achievement. TG didn't have any new records out, so I got Cal Jader Sounds Out Burt Bacharach. Oh. Would Jim please tell everything he remembers about making of that record? I really love that record. Great Bacharach songs played so well. some very serious and others great fun. Yeah, that was on the Sky
Played with
label.
Cal
Yeah.
David? He was a good guy.
I'm going to have to listen to that again. It's been a long time since I heard that, but yeah, those were.
He was a good violin. He was a good jazz player.
Yeah, well,
Well,
yeah,
he was trying to do some pop stuff.
But that was
Yeah.
Latin, I think, wasn't it?
Burt Bacharach, Hal David were two
Okay.
of the greatest teams that ever lived musically.
God, they were
And,
ridiculous.
And to play that music, with somebody like
Cal?
it just it was that was a tremendous
I got him started on
little
live.
period.
I was working with Buddy Rich in San Francisco, and he was working with Dave Brubeck before Dave became real famous in Berkeley. So every night he'd come to the hotel, and we had a key to the club because they were there all the time. We went back to the club, and he had the vibes at that. I'd show him little things, and he picked up on it so fast. He was a real talented guy. But then he became an ultra big Latin star.
The review for that Cal Tjader album says, Keltner's masterful restraint and repetitive Afro-Cuban accents turn tracks like What the World Needs Now into an interactive jazz masterclass.
Wow, who said
Yeah,
that?
you
I
never
don't know
how
who
good-
wrote the review.
you never
Oh,
know
that
how-
was a review.
Yeah.
you never know how good you were, did you?
I'll tell you, I'm humbled. Believe me, because that review is what I would love to be able to think was true. Although
You know what,
my
hey, Trevor,
natural
that-
self is to say, I wish it was like
When
that.
we see your credits with all these people, you had to be good or they wouldn't call you. You had to be good. Maybe one or two would call you because they had nobody else, but you couldn't be on like 50 million records and not be good.
Well, yeah,
You were good.
it's a peculiarly, it's a different kind of job to play on records. It's all about sensibility, and like I said in the very beginning, if somebody like Hal Blaine, God bless his soul, if he hadn't taken the time with me to be friendly and answer my questions and treat me like I was like his nephew or something, if I hadn't had that from him, and Earl never gave me the time that Hal did, but Earl, when I would talk to Earl would I just had those guys in my life
Well, you
at a time when I needed to formulate stuff.
yourself.
And
Yeah.
Hal Blaine and Earl Palmer, I have to give them the credit for helping me to learn that sensibility of record making as a drummer.
Yeah, but you became Jim Keltner. Not Hal Blaine or Earl. You became yourself.
Well,
What else you got?
Well, James Gavin is here, the famous biographer and musicologist. You know James Gavin, maybe. But he's a frequent contributor here. He says, "Greetings, oh great ones," and a question for both of you, quite apropos: can great rhythm be taught, or is it innate?
I think you can learn, but it won't be authentic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn technique, but you can't learn how to play. You can learn techniques, but you can't teach talent.
that's right.
Did you have any teachers when you were a kid, Jim?
Yeah, I wanted teachers for my hands. I didn't know that there would be any other reason to have a teacher. But I remember having the first. I can't remember that. I had several teachers, but they weren't very many. But I remember that when Mike Romero came into my life, Terry Gibbs, young drummer at the time, who was like maybe 2 years younger than me, played with my genius friend Albert Stinson on bass, and what a rhythm section that was. And there's no recording of them together, which breaks my heart.
I have records with not Albert Stinson, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mike Romero.
The two of them together. But Mike Romero was so good to me that I asked him for some lessons because I wanted to see. When I would see him at the Dragonwick in Pasadena playing, with like Charles Lloyd and Bobby Hutcherson and different people. He had, his sticks were not like this. These are giant Buddy Rich sticks. I was surprised when I saw these sticks the first time Buddy. Anyway, Michael Romero had this left hand thing with his fingers, and it was just killing me. I would watch him, and I didn't know what he was doing, so I said, "Will you show me that?" And he did. And and unfortunately, sadly, I gave this up sometime in the probably mid-'70s to go like this.
Oh, you played
Magic Grip.
Right, and which, it's just not the same as this.
I saw you playing that way with the Traveling Wilburys. You were conventional, I think.
Yeah, that might have been, if we were playing, what they call it, sidelining, if we were playing to the record, just for video, I would always do that just because I liked the way it looked. And
By the way, I'll tell you a great compliment that Mike got from Oscar Peterson. We were playing in Toronto, and Oscar came in to see us, and I always feature the drummer playing in tempo. No, it had to be the song. He had to play the song. Then I played the ballad. Then we did the vibe thing. Anyhow, I featured Mike, and after he played, I went down and sat down with Oscar. Oscar said to me, "You know something, Terry? When that drummer played the song, I heard all the chord changes." What a compliment that is. What a compliment.
Yeah.
Heard all the chord changes.
That's right. That's it. See, that goes along with the question you just asked. Is it innate or can it be taught?
Right.
Yeah, anything can be taught, but
talent can't be taught.
Yeah, if it's something that's inside you that when it comes out it reaches people and touches them, that's the part that I think that's innate when you have that. I think that comes from someplace that we don't.
Yeah, I was talking to you, maybe, but I never told you that I've been retired now 10 years, and I just started listening to all my records. I said, damn, I was really good. I didn't know I was that good. I play all these doubles. You have to hear it head first, then it goes to your hands. And I didn't believe that I could do all that. Now I can't do anything. I go with a piano, I can't even find a chord. I'm through now.
Well,
I'm through with love.
But these hands were amazing with those mallets, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you were, probably a lot of guys at the time said, yeah, well, Terry's great. If he was paid by the note, he'd be fabulously wealthy.
Right.
But the thing about that, because I heard all these different kinds of things and all the comparisons and stuff, but again, what mattered is if you're in their presence and you are being touched somehow, it has to reach you and mean something and change something inside you. If it doesn't, then it's okay. But it was like a meal that came and went,
The greatest time I've had in my life was Afghanistan. The greatest time was most fun I've had in my life was being on stage. And it was just fun, because I always, there's a book on my music stand where I'm on the cover, and it's an interview with me, and usually the editor take something out there to give it a headline. It's always a courteous. But this guy wrote the most important thing. I said that you're only as good as what's behind you, which is true. Without a rhythm section, I can't play. Without a good drummer, he's the first. The drummer is the lead of my band. Mel Lewis, when he played with the band, he was the leader of the Dream Band.
Oh, so you played with Mel Lewis too, on top of that.
Did you ever get to see Mel?
I got to see Mel. I got to sit behind Mel when he was playing in a big band in the studio, and I can't for the life of me know what it was. All I know is that I was sitting behind him, and he was playing that great Mel Lewis thing that he played, and then I noticed and he had big forearms, he had those big Jewish forearms with the hair, and his right here on his, I think it was his left hand, there's a big, violent, red raised spot, like not a spot, but like a huge kind of thing right there underneath this, and it was angry looking, and I thought, what the hell is that? And I think that was one of the things that took him down. It was some kind of bad thing.
If you ask me,
a little bit later in life.
My favorite drummers, I have to say, with the big band, Mel Lewis, and the greatest drummer of all was Buddy Rich.
Oh, of course.
Nobody's favorite drummer. He was a drummer.
Yeah.
But you didn't get to see Mel with the Dream Band maybe around 1960.
No, I did see, no. I'm wrong with that. I saw, Cynthia and I together saw Mel Lewis playing live when he was younger. Yeah. And again, I can't remember, it might have been Dave Pell, something like the Dave Pell Octet, but it seems to me it was a big band. But I'm not certain. Anyway, Mel Lewis is one of those people that we're talking about now, who, when he played, you felt something, and it changed you inside, and that's the key. That's the thing. Now, that was innate for Mel Lewis.
He knew how to make the in-between figures.
He knew how to make the band just swing, but also be sexy, and he didn't do it with power.
No,
he did it with finesse, and
right.
He could play hard when he needed to. Yes.
But he knew how to make those fills. The fills became part of the song.
Right, right, that's right.
Danny Gottlieb?
Yes, I know Danny.
Well, Danny picked my brain and came to my house, took the whole drum book, and he made a Mel Lewis drum book, which he's got about a market.
That's fantastic.
And Mel's solos were part of the arrangement. Anybody who played that arrangement had to play Mel's solo or didn't sound right.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just beautiful. I can just feel it right now.
Yeah.
Including the end of the Big Cat. Bump, 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 bump.
That was an ad-lib too. That was the only time he did it.
Okay. Jerry wants to know, what famous rock musicians did you work with that were out-and-out jazz fanatics that who knew everyone was like you do?
Wow, rock guys, huh?
That knew jazz pretty well.
I'm sorry again. I can't put that together in words exactly, but I can say that there
Leon
were.
Russell, maybe.
No, Leon wasn't a jazz guy. Although Leon, I'm sure Leon had an appreciation that I wasn't even aware of, because Leon was really an amazing cat. Leon was just, and when I say an amazing cat, it's funny because he was more like cat-like than most people. He would look at you and not talk, and you knew that he was saying something to you. He just had a way about him, and he loved my playing, and he knew that I came from the jazz world, and his drummers, the drummers in Tulsa that he played with, David Teagarden, Chuck Blackwell, Jimmy Karstein, those are my Tulsa brothers, who I didn't meet until I got to California many years later. Those guys had a real particular kind of soulful rock kind of thing going, and I did not have that. I never actually developed that. I developed something else similar to that, but because of my jazz roots, I came from a different place, and having gotten out of Oklahoma, out of Tulsa at such an early age, and being affected by my jazz friends in California, I came to this rock world with a different set of musical sensibilities. And Leon embraced all that, and so did Delaney from Delaney and Bonnie. Those two guys, between the two of them, they gave me the confidence that I would have never had I not met them.
Did you move into the neighborhood where Mike Stinson and Albert, Mike Romero and Albert Stinson lived, or did they move into your neighborhood?
No, Albert was already. I think Albert was born in Ohio someplace, but he came to California as a young kid, I think.
Yeah.
So they were there already.
And you moved in that neighborhood.
And they were going to a school in Pasadena, Altadena called Muir, John Muir. And I was going to junior high school called John Marshall in Pasadena. And the difference was I think it was one street that if I'd been living on the other side of the street, I'd have been in school with them. But
you found each other.
Yeah, we found each other. And Albert, as I said, Albert at the time, Albert Stinson was genius, and we did not know it. All we knew was that he was amazing as a musician. And we knew that every time he played with the older guys like Charles Lloyd and Bobby Hutcherson loved him. Bill Henderson.
Everybody. I got him
and then
first.
Terry Gibbs.
I got him first because he was 16, and I had to sign paper to his mother to be his legal guardian.
I first heard him with Chico Hamilton.
Evelyn Stinson.
Yeah. He was like my little son.
Yeah.
I might ask a question. Just quick. You mentioned a drummer from Tulsa named Jimmy Karstein.
Karstein.
Yeah. Did he work with Gary Lewis and the Playboys?
He took my place with Gary when.
How long were you with him?
I was with Gary Lewis for just a few months, but it changed everything for me. I got to play on that record. It's one of his little hit records called Just My Style. And Leon Russell was the producer of the record.
That's pretty well.
And so it really kind of was the beginning for me. It was the exact beginning for me. And then Gary loved me. I loved Gary. I loved the fact that Jerry Lewis was one of my biggest heroes. And
he was one of my best friends.
And he was one of your best friends?
Yeah.
Jeez, Manisa. See, I didn't know that.
You know, every time an album I get in the dream, he made me come to his house, and he had one room with about 20 tape recorders all around.
Yeah.
And he made 20 copies, send them to all the movie actors, Tony Curtis. He made me famous to all the movie actors.
Yeah, Jerry Lewis was just somebody that I found out, that people either hated him or they loved him. And I couldn't get enough Jerry Lewis. And so when I met his son, I went crazy. And so I joined his band when he asked me to join his band, especially because he was paying some money. And I'm working in a music store at the time. So anyway, that changed my life. That was the beginning for
What
me.
music store did you work in?
What's that?
What music store did you work in?
Barry and Grassmick on Colorado near Lake.
You know, I had a music store.
You had a music store?
Yeah, with a drummer called Bill Zelnick. Drums and guitars.
Really?
I only did
I
that
didn't know that.
because I was making too much money. So my accountant says, find a hobby and lose money. Have fun and lose money. So those days, drums and guitars nobody was buying any brass. And this guy, Mel Lewis, had a little drum shop. So I said, I knew him from New York. I said, you want to open up a bigger one? And it was called Terry Gibbs and Mel Zelnick's Music Stop in Canoga Park.
Canoga Park?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was wild.
That's amazing.
It was just a hangout for me.
Yeah.
Just a hangout because I was conducting a show called Operation Entertainment, so I was writing the music all day. And then in the afternoon I'd come and hang out, just have fun watching these young kids. That's what I hired Freddie Krueger. That's how he got rich. Don Lombardi was a student of his.
That's right.
And he helped Don Lombardi get the Camco pedal.
Wow. See, that story right there, and let me just take this opportunity since this is live and who knows who's watching.
Yeah.
Don Lombardi
Yeah.
And I were doing the same thing at the same time. He's a little bit younger than me, but he was playing bar mitzvahs, parties, little beer joints and things. I was doing the same thing, and we knew each other like that. And then all these years go by, he became the president of one of the great American, the owner of one of the great American drum companies called Drum Workshop.
I have a drum set that he made for me, a white pearl.
Oh yeah.
Jerry got about 8 of them or 9.
Oh yeah, probably.
But you know something?
But let me finish.
Yeah.
It's not just Don. Don went into partnership with a friend of his named John Good.
Yeah.
And John was also and is one of the great cats in this business. Really good guy. And I just spoke with him the other day. And he's having a little rough time right now.
Did they sell the company?
I think they have, both of them have done something like that. So they're not, but they're both having problems. Don's got a few health problems.
Yeah.
John has some health problems.
Yeah,
And I've put them on some serious prayer lists, and they're appreciative of that. And they're both great guys. Really, really influential in my life, and all of our lives, right? And so I just want to give a shout out to them. John Good and Don Lombardi.
Isn't that wild how life is so short? We come together in some areas.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I mentioned Don Lombardi. John Good, friends with you guys. We didn't even know it. You didn't know that I knew about Freddie getting the Camco pedal film.
Yeah, that's right. And that was a stroke of genius.
Yeah, and he took the Camco pedal and built a company around it.
Yeah.
That's what. You have foresight. You're a promoter. You do this, and that's like the number one drum with all the rockers, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, there's probably argument there, but
his music stands. You can kill somebody with them. They're so heavy.
Yeah.
But he makes light ones too, though.
Yeah. It's for because Don has a jazz sensibility. He knows what a little jazz drum set should be.
Well, that's what he wanted to be when he studied there.
Yeah.
Studied with Freddie Gruber.
Yeah.
I wonder what he learned. I'll bring this up. I took Freddie out of the streets because I knew him and he was screwed up, really unchucked.
Yeah.
And I gave him a job in my store teaching. And I said, Freddie, I'm going to give you a job teaching. And if I come in one day and you're like, your eyes are drooping all, and you tell me you didn't sleep last night, you're fired. You're talking to a guy who's been around junkies all his life.
Yeah.
And he took care of business.
Yeah.
He took care of it. We had great teachers, Colin Bailey, Henry Belson, and then Freddie, all heavyweights.
Yeah,
I had
kidding.
Buddy Rich come out and do a clinic out there for me.
Oh,
we had a big backyard, so he played, and so did Louis Nelson.
Gee.
And we had. It was for me. It was just a hangout, because I was making my money at the writing and conducting his TV shows.
Sure.
So it was just good hangout. I had no place to go when I wasn't writing, so I hung out at the store. Any more questions, right?
Yeah, a few.
Go ahead.
Okay, Jim tells a story about, it's from Jerry, and Jim tells a story about going into the studio with Steely Dan, how you picked up that cheap snare from the Pro Jam shop, and you told Jerry that you didn't even need to tune the snare drum, and then thought you had the greatest snare drum and never could use it again.
Yeah, that's it. That's basically the story right there.
Did you do that on video? You told that story on video.
Yeah, I've told the story a lot of times.
But
then really quickly, what it was I had somehow I had acquired a beautiful little original Black Beauty, and it was funky looking, but the original Black Beauties had a kind of a funky look, and I loved it, and I knew the pedigree of that kind of drum. And I would play it, I would tune it, I put different heads on. I did everything you could do to make it sound like I wanted it to sound, and it just didn't have it for me, which is probably really stupid. Now I would probably love it. But anyway, so I took it to the drum shop, to Bob Yeager, and I said, Bob, I love this drum, but I can't use it, can I trade it for you for something? And he looked at it, and I know he knew that he had something, really good there. I'm not saying that he was tricky with me, but he knew me. He did a lot of good favors for me. But anyway, so he said, yeah, go ahead and pick something out. So I laid the drum there on the counter, went over to his snare drum counter, and I looked around and I tapped on this one little Vistalite cheap, $90 snare drum, and super sensitive Vistalite. You can see through it, it's clear. And I tapped on it, and I loved the sound immediately. I said, how about this? And he said, yeah, take it. So I traded a $90 Vistalite for a Black Beauty, and went home, and within the next week or so, I think I got the call to do the Steely session, and so I thought, okay, Steely Dan, that's not going to be one of those sessions where I have to have the snare drum low and a blanket over it and all that stuff. So I'll just take this because it's fun to play on. You know, it's crisp and tuned up. So I took it to the session and put it up, and I kept expecting any time for somebody to say, Jim, you got something lower or something with a little more beef in it, you know. But it wasn't that kind of song that was looking for a backbeat, you know. It was a song that was, everything was written out in detail, and it was more of a kind of it just wasn't like a real rock song kind of thing.
Jolie?
Yeah, it's a song called Josie.
Josie.
And so nobody said anything, so I said, okay, I'm good, I guess. And so I used that drum on that song, and I thought, woo, this is great. And I tried to play the drum on several other sessions.
It worked.
It just did not work.
What did Bob do with that drum? Did he sell it for $1 million?
You know,
by the way, there was a bring up Bob Yeager's name, is also a name that we all had forgotten. They'll go back to the
Chuck
cliche good old days. Chuck Molinari. The good old days.
Yeah.
Do you still have that Vistalite, even though you don't play it?
I still own it, but it's in a museum in Nashville.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Probably worth $10,000, I think. So let's see.
What did John Bates say?
John Bates says, hi, Terry and Jim. What a treat to hear the two of you reminiscing. Jim, Terry isn't familiar with most of your legendary non-jazz history, but I remember your mutual friend Louis Bellson often speaking about his tremendous love and respect for you as both a person and drummer. Do you have any Louis stories you can share?
Louis Bellson?
Yeah.
Spoke of me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Louis. I know I met Louis way later in life, and I told him. I'm sure I told him that he was a massive.
How about Buddy Rich? You ever meet him?
Buddy, I met Buddy, later on in life as well, and Buddy. Yeah, what do you say to Buddy Rich and Louis Bellson? You say the things that because I was a kid when they affected me, and so I had to say all those kinds of things to them, and I remember Buddy was probably a little more distant. Because Buddy was an icon of all the icons, and so he was. It wasn't that I didn't think that Buddy was snotty in any kind of way.
Let me tell you about Buddy, because he was one of my close friends. If you didn't know you and you didn't know how good you could play, he wouldn't bother with you. But if he knew how good you were, he would pay more attention. Buddy, like Sweet Edison and JoJo and Papa Joe. These are the people that Buddy wanted to be with all the time, the heavyweights.
Right.
But if he knew how good you were, you'd be one of his guys.
Well, I don't think he would have thought of me as who knows? I don't know. But
I know his thing.
But the question was about Louis, and Louis. If Louis said nice things about me, then I'm blown away, and I don't. I wish I had remembered, or maybe I never heard it, but
so I tell you what I think of Louis Bellson. To me, Louis Bellson is the nicest man I ever met in my life.
Yeah, that's true.
Buddy DeFranco is second, and Clark Terry third. But Louis Bellson was the nicest man I ever met in my life.
Yeah, that's what I've heard over and over, and I think that's the way impression I got from him.
And he liked your playing. He saw something in your playing. He must have heard it somewhere. He's not going to say that,
I loved his sound. Like when he was on TV, he was on TV a lot, right?
That's Night Show.
Yeah.
He'd sub for Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
Well, at the beginning of the Tonight Show, he and Eddie Shorty were both subbing. Who else you got?
Well, John Altman's remembering Ian Wallace. He said we lost Ian, so...
Who's that?
Ian Wallace.
Yeah, Ian's been gone.
I guess this comes from Hawaii. Yoli, hi, aloha to Terry and Jim from Yoli. Okay.
Rod, I had questions.
Jerry has a question.
Jared, where are you?
Oh, right here.
Got another question for?
There's a lot of questions.
Go ahead. Well, that's
What was it like working with Tom Petty? He's one of my favorites.
Oh, Tom Petty. Tom.
Is he kind of a crazy guy?
No, Tom was not crazy at all. That's the impression maybe that
His videos.
that he gave, yeah. But no, he wasn't crazy. He was beautiful. Tommy was just one of the greats. Tom, like, you know, the Wilburys band, right? Those guys loved Tom. Bob Dylan. If you got Bob Dylan and George Harrison, and Jeff Lynne and Roy Orbison, loving you and wanting you in the band.
I didn't know him.
That pretty much says it all about Tom. Tom was.
What do you do? I like to say it. I don't know him.
What's that?
I didn't know.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Tom was a great singer.
Oh yeah, Tom.
Guitar player and songwriter, and he had many big hits with his band, the Heartbreakers.
Now he's got a bunch of questions for you. What do you got?
Yeah, I got a lot of questions. If Jim's okay with it.
Then he like that.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's see. Let's go back here.
Can I ask one last one?
Sure.
Yes. While you look at him.
Have you ever, do you know any of the members of No Doubt? Gwen Stefani's one of my absolute favorite in the whole entire world.
Yeah, Gwen Stefani was fantastic. I hope she's still happening.
They're in Vegas right now doing a
Vegas?
No Doubt after 18 years came back together. Did you get
fantastic.
to meet her?
Yeah, I know I met Gwen somewhere along the way, but my whole family, we were all big fans of Gwen. But who is the drummer?
Tony Kamal. No,
Okay.
wait, not Tony Kamal. Tony's the bass guy.
It's embarrassing to me because he's one of my friends.
I'm going to put it, look for here.
Yeah, look it up.
Cat Connor, who was Gene Cipriano's significant other, says Cip so loved Jim. Every time his name came up, he'd drop a big sigh. You know, Gene Cipriano.
Oh yeah, Yo Cip.
Yeah.
There you go. And
Cat Connor was on the show.
Bless his soul.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other good questions? Well, Lester Merle is saying he loved Mel Lewis. He loved him in Terry's band and heard him at least 20 times at the Vanguard with Thad. Every performance was a drum lesson.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you got for?
And Kirk Vick is asking, do you have a favorite drum set or kit?
I think my favorite drum set is the one I'm playing now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is kind of a hybrid.
Are you still doing those home overdubs?
Yeah, I do. What I've done for many, many years is I got into the machines, the sampling machines, and I would sample. I never wanted to use sample drum sounds because I'm a drummer. So, and I always hated the way they sounded anyway. So I would sample things like Cynthia would be in the kitchen and she would knock something over, and I said, "Oh, do that again," and I would sample it. And so I got samples of things that I don't even know the names of whatever you would call them, and I put them all together, and then I make up these little grooves. And they're really good enough on their own to just stand on their own, which they did on some, I've done over the years commercials and a few records.
That's pretty well.
But the thing is, later on I started playing drums once I got myself set up. And one of my favorite engineers put together my drum sound for me in my little room. And so now I'm thinking about putting a little record together of drums and my machine samples.
I'm going to tell you something that I was going to do. Before Buddy died, I got an idea, because nobody could play the snare drum like him. Nobody could.
No.
I went to Buddy and said, I got an idea for the record. Just use snare drum and bass drum, nothing else. Snare drum with a guitar and bass, open spaces. I want you to play brushes and sticks, solos. Just snare drum and bass drum. No cymbals. I think every drummer would have bought it because nobody played the snare drum like him. When we played it, whatever town it would be, all the percussion section from the symphony would be there to hear him play. He was. There was. I watched him play every night for 6 months. I didn't believe what he was doing.
Oh no!
I didn't believe what he was doing.
It was unbelievable.
It really was.
Truly, though, and
he's been doing it since he was a kid. Go ahead, Red. What else you got, Ron?
Go ahead, Red. Michael Jones would like to know, Jim, did you ever play with Loggins and Messina? Remember that? They were popular in the 70s.
I think maybe I did, but I unfortunately I can't remember for sure, which is a terrible thing.
And,
what else you
got?
got?
What else were they talking about?
That's all right.
Oh, Andy Nazal wants to know, what was it like working with Harry Nilsson?
It was a dream, truly like a dream. In the early days, before he blew his voice out on the beach, he had a voice like an angel, and we cut so many pretty things. The one big hit that we cut together with Richard Perry producing was "Without You," a song called "Without You," and it was a good vehicle for him and his voice, and it's just an angelic voice. As a person, he was just a sweetheart. My family loved him. Everybody, we all loved him. And he was one of the people who couldn't stop partying. He couldn't leave the
really?
party.
Was he a big party?
And you got to leave the party at some point.
Yeah.
If you don't, your health is going to be in jeopardy, and that's what happened with Harry.
Did he die young?
Yeah, he died way too young.
What do you got, Rod?
But he was a tremendous artist and a beautiful human being. We loved Harry.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
What do you got, Rod?
Chuck Finley says he'll be in touch with you.
Oh,
good.
Great.
And is there any more there?
I don't care about you. I want about the show.
And let's see. Well, Jerry wants to know, what's the hardest recording date you ever did? Hardest musical recording date for Jim. What would have been the hardest musical recording date?
God, I wish I could. It'd be good to. If I had time to think about it, I would remember something. But I know there were a couple. There were a few times. I was very, very fortunate in that I was able to get through times that I thought might be difficult. I've read in the past things like, just recently, I've read where they said, I don't know why Donald Fagen would have hired Jim Keltner for a Steely Dan song, because I'm not, I'm a roots rock drummer or something. That's what I'm known for.
Who's that?
But then anyway, then they said, well, but then his jazz background, allowed him to not. Anyway, but my point was that I remember thinking, okay, good. This is Fagen, and I'm a big fan of their hits. I didn't know much of their catalog or anything like that, but I know that they had great hits. And I said, wow, this is well. And as we were playing, I was thinking, well, this is not going to be one of their hits, but it was fun, and it turned out to be one of their hits.
Good.
So,
what was that?
but as far as a difficult session, I know that there were times, and maybe it's a preservation thing, like where I just don't allow myself to go back and think like that, because there were times when I thought that I didn't do a good job, and I always regretted that. But I think I've wiped them out of my mind.
I think a lot of guys feel that way. They could have done better.
Yeah.
That's why they make take after take. I only record live because I don't want to make take after take.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it until I go in the studio and mix. What else you got?
Yeah, no.
Didn't you play on a trash can with Steely Dan?
Yes, that was an overdub. They said, what can we do in this section right here? And I said, wait, in my trunk I have something. And I brought out you remember John Dance, the drummer?
Yeah, of course, he worked with me.
John Dance and Bob Yeager were good friends, of course. Bob Yeager, the owner of Professional Jump Up. They both, for one of my birthdays, made a garbage can. They took it and took the handle off and drilled a hole in the middle, and then signed it on the back. And I loved it. I thought, oh, that's really cute. And but it wouldn't work with a stick or anything. It was a sound thing So I had it in the trunk of my car. I said, let me try this. I brought it in, and to Fagen's credit, he's just a very creative man, and they loved it. He and Walter Becker both loved it. So that's the overdub on that song.
John's first job with me was a record date. He was just a young kid. And then after he was a band with Alice Coltrane, New Year's Eve, got sick. And New Year's Eve, you can't get a piano player or any musician to play these jobs, I called even with Hank Jones and couldn't get anybody. And John then says, there's a kid in my hometown. I said, first, let me get my guys first. I couldn't. So I said, John, bring this kid. It was Chick Corea as a kid.
Wow.
And he played his hands off. And you know what? When Chick recorded with Jerry and had to play, Jerry did an album called, what's it called? Songs My Father wrote.
Yeah, that's the one I just was listening to.
Songs from my father. Yeah.
Songs from my father.
Yeah.
And anyhow, Chick Corea called me up like a little boy. I recorded a song called Popsicle Course. He said, hey, Terry, would you mind if I played a little slower? I said, Chick, I don't tell anybody how to play my songs. You can record any way you want. Like a little boy, you mind if I record? This guy, the multi-millionaire,
yeah,
and big star, asked me, can I mind? But he remembered the time I hired him when he was just a young baby.
Oh, so he was in your band too? Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And then later your son makes these great records with you.
Oh, then he became a star, a superstar.
Yeah.
Mike Clark wants to know, what kind of ride do you use? Don't say Uber.
I use, it's a different kind of thing nowadays. I don't use the ride very much, but I always have one of the rides I have set up here at the house now is a John Guerin symbol with one rivet in it. And his wife gave it to me when he passed, and I treasure that, and I use it on my own stuff, but I haven't used it in the studio because it's a little too, it's in the studio.
Just one rivet?
Yeah, one rivet, and it's a little on the heavier side, so it's like a real jazz kind of symbol.
Yeah.
But for the studio, my main ride has been lately. God, I don't know how to say it because Paiste. I can't say enough about Paiste cymbals. I started playing like every other kid. Started playing with Zildjian cymbals.
Yeah.
My dad played Zildjians, and I had old Zildjians all my life coming up, and then at some point I played on a Paiste, and I loved it. And then the Paiste people, I met the Paiste people, and they were really, really sweet, and they offered me a deal, the deal was like, hey, can we give you cymbals? And so I started playing their cymbals, and I fell in love with them, and more so than that, they started making me my own cymbals, and that was amazing. And so what I have now is all Paistes, and they're all from every generation that Paiste has made from the 70s.
Cymbals are really important to a drummer.
They're very important, and I've always favored thin cymbals. You can't use them in jazz that much.
Dizzy Gillespie years ago said, Terry, you could have change your drummers from time to time. Buy your own cymbal. So I was in Philadelphia, and this guy Elvis told him, a great drummer, had a music stuff. So I went and I picked out a cymbal. I had all my drummers played. I gave it to Jerry, and Jerry played it. Then when he came to record it, he put it in, and then I had it back again. I had it back and playing it.
Yeah.
Well, but now he's got it again.
That's what a cymbal is. It's Mel
Lewis used to cut his cymbal. It went from a 20-inch cymbal to about 12. He was cutting it all over the place. I want to ask you, when was the last time you played with an all jazz group, real jazz group.
Wow, I can't
Long time ago.
even remember that. You know the.
Okay, I'll ask you-
That's sad that I can't remember.
I'll ask
that.
you the same kind of thing. If you were to put a band together of young musicians or whatever you are today, a little group, 5-piece, 6-piece, who would you hire? Who would you hire on bass, number one?
Oh my God, that's an impossible question.
I know
because
it is.
I've got to have. I got to choose a couple of bass players to play on some of my stuff coming up, and I know
I'm
somebody.
talking about a
incredible-
jazz group.
Okay, but only specifically for jazz.
Yeah.
There's several guys that,
Name one.
you know, but now, I mean, you got to remember, I come from the Ron Carter era.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, who do you like?
Albert and Ron Carter, and Ron is still alive, actually.
Yeah. He played with
Jerry.
Jerry.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I mean, it could be.
Okay,
be
Ron Carter.
If I could get Ron, you know.
Yeah, okay. I think you can get them all.
But there's some younger guys.
On piano.
Yeah. Oh, and piano too. Jesus. This.
Come on, you gotta get
somebody. What's that?
you gotta get an all-star band for yourself.
I would have to really give it a lot of thought because I have so many.
On top of your head,
great
right now,
friends.
you gotta pick the guys out.
Oh man,
I won't give you the job unless you.
You don't have the job. No, I can't. I can't for jazz
Yeah.
bass players. Jazz bass
But you
players.
said Ron Carter.
Well, Ron Carter, yeah. I mean, because he's still around, you know.
Yeah.
Who of the great jazz guys are still around from that era?
What's the guy playing with Jerry? What's his name?
Andy Langham. Andy
No,
Langham.
no, not Andy.
Oh,
what's
Kenny
his-
Barron?
Not Andy.
Kenny Barron?
Yeah, Kenny Barron. Is he
Kenny
still
Barron.
around?
Yeah.
Oh, Kenny, that would be a
He's
fantastic.
the number one for me
Yeah.
too. Go ahead.
But then also our man, our main man. What's the matter with my brain? Played with Miles. With the
Herbie Hancock?
yeah, Herbie.
Okay.
Herbie. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. Herbie with Albert, my friend Albert.
You got a
and
rhythm
Tony
section. Now you got a rhythm section. Give me a few
and Wayne
horns.
Shorter.
Give me a few horns.
Yeah, Wayne Shorter. Well, of course, Wayne is.
Well,
no
you're
longer
not hearing Wayne Shorter tell
That's
is it?
right.
I didn't even know anybody was around.
That's what I'm
So are you
saying.
looking for a sax player?
Yeah.
Eric Alexander or
Yeah, he doesn't know these guys from New
yeah,
York.
New York?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It is.
Terry.
It is
really
even
a
for me to
tough
put
one.
him out again.
But I would be so scared. You see, you scared me already by saying that, because that means that I would have to rise to the occasion to play some jazz, and
You would.
Yeah.
You would. Though.
I probably would.
You know Anthony
guys.
Wilson.
Of course
don't
you would. You
Anthony
did it.
Wilson
Once
Anthony
you got
Wilson. Anthony Wilson is one of my favorite
for
musicians.
the guitar.
Yeah, he's just a fantastic musician.
There's a guy I use on my record called Dan Fanley,
Yeah,
who's really, he's like from the Charlie Christian school. And he's so good, he got the technique, he got the feel. On my last album with Hubert Laws and him and Tom Rainier and Jerry and the bass player, it really sounded great. Oh, what else? Because I don't want to hang him up all day.
Let me just say this, Tom,
Yeah, go ahead.
since I'm on camera and everything. You know, one of my closest friends is John Patitucci, and I don't know if
Monster.
you know him, but he's like one of the great bass
Yes,
players
yes.
of
Frank
all.
Srizzeri brought on a
That's
sing.
right.
I saw him as a kid out here.
Yeah, and then I could go from there on. But I just thought of that.
John
because
Petitucci is great, yes. Anybody got any more questions before?
Okay, well, Serge Kasimoff is just putting in his comments about Mike Romero, and
Who is?
essentially you've just talked about him quite a bit.
Somebody knows him?
Yeah, well, I knew him 60 years ago. He's on Terry's second record with Pat Moran.
Yeah, well,
Okay. Yeah, and I've got to get that.
Yeah,
By the
yeah.
way, you got a link for that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Please, I would really love that.
Yeah.
One. Yeah, because I keep forgetting to.
Okay. Let's see.
You have- you have the last-
Jerry is saying something about Freddie Hubbard's Whiplash. Maybe he's trying to say Whiplet. That Ewan Gadsden plays on.
Oh, that's right. Freddie
Freddie
Hubbard of
Hubbard.
all people. It, you know, they had in mind to make Freddie do a little pop kind of thing. Probably, I'm guessing that's probably what it was. And so here I am in the studio with the great Freddie Hubbard.
That'd be fun.
And Gadsden, yeah, but I got to hear that record because I want to hear what Gadsden did. James Gadsden was one of my favorite people. One of my favorite drummers. His name was Gadsden. And he was a great drummer because one of the reasons because he was a great singer. And so he played drums like a great singer would, and it just fantastic.
Did you ever know Grady Tate?
I didn't know Grady, but I love.
But he's a good singer.
Yeah, there's another perfect
Yeah, he's
example.
a good singer. Also.
Great drummer because of his singing.
Yeah. Well, you know what Peggy Lee once told me? She says, Terry, you want to play that ballad real good, learn the lyrics. And it's true. You learn the lyrics. You're playing that song with the emotion that you feel with the lyrics.
That's
but
exactly
I have a style of my own playing. I hear what Bird did, like double time figures. I have to play them. They come out.
Yeah.
Jerry continues here. He says, Jim, you gave him one of the greatest cymbals I have ever owned.
Who's that?
Jerry says Jim gave him one of the greatest cymbals he's ever owned, and he uses it in every gig and recording. He says, you, Jim, came to see me with Randy Brecker and then gave it to me the next day.
Wow, is it a K?
Probably.
I bet it's a K.
I think it's a K with a smile.
Yeah, I think it's a K.
Jerry, was it a K?
Stop looking at him because you're looking at nothing.
Yeah, I believe it was. It might have been a K with a little crack, a nice long crack, and it had a great sound.
Yeah.
But I knew that Jerry would make it sing the right way. Jerry Gibbs, your son, has a touch and a feel and a sensibility which reminds me of old bebop with new a new way of thinking about it, and it's just beautiful. It's just.
Do you have my album called 92 Years Young? That we did in my house right here with John Campbell, Mike Rulu, and Jerry playing brushes.
Oh, I'll bet that's
a copy before you leave.
Well, I'll get you.
Jerry says yes, it was a K.
Yeah, that's it. I remember that one. That's good. I'm glad that you reminded me.
I don't want to hang up now. You got any more?
No, that's it for now.
Okay, it's him for coming because you added another dimension of people to my repertoire of idiots.
Oh, good.
You know,
good.
And I'm so happy because I'm hoping that these people realize that there's certain people who are that great that aren't jazz players, which I don't know about, that you do, because you play with them. All right.
Yeah.
You can say goodbye. Say goodbye, Rod.
Rim shot, Jim.
Press the button.
Oh, group shot?
Yeah, say them.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Is that it?